Alright, it's a little after 6, and today is going to be a good day. I can just feel it. It's supposedly the last day of the burn zone. We'll see about that, but supposedly. And after the first little bit, the terrain is really easy. Like, really flat. And hopefully I'll actually have a, off-trail, somewhat private campsite tonight. Is the idea. The last 2 nights, I was in Chester at the baseball field, which was, no one else was there, but it was kind of creeping me out. Camping somewhere random in a town feels and probably is so much more dangerous than camping somewhere random in the woods. And then last night I got decent sleep, but there was a lot of us camped there. It was at a normal campground, but the information online said that half of the campsites were first come, first serve. And so it was like, oh, okay, then I'll maybe have a campsite to myself. And then we rolled up, and on the sign, it was written over in Sharpie, and it turns out that actually only one site is first come, first serve, which effectively just means that every single thru hiker that was there was in one campsite. There were 15 to 20 of us. So it's a little close for my taste, but tonight will be better, I think. So, yeah. Also, while still maintaining that it's going to be a good day today, I've still been kind of processing and thinking about the family thing that I had that has happened, that is has been pretty upsetting and emotional for me, and everyone else involved, or adjacent. But I was thinking about something. I had the awkward moment where you're talking to your phone and someone passes you and you're like, oh, nothing to see here. But anyway, I was talking to a couple of hikers actually back in Idlewild, at the beginning. And one was ex-military for the British Navy, and one was a psychologist. And we were talking about, I think it's EMDR. I get the letters a little mixed up sometimes, though. But it's a modality of therapy that has to do with eye movement and bilateral stimulation, basically. And I've had several friends who've done this and have raved about it, and the man who is ex-military was talking about how it totally changed his life. But then the girl who is a psychologist was talking about, and I didn't know this part, kind of the origin of it, which was the therapist who developed it either thought of the concept or got the inspiration from walking and how therapeutic that was, and then had some theory about the kind of small eye movements involved and the bilateral, I don't know, yeah, which was interesting to hear because I think it makes a lot of sense in just a lot of people's colloquial experiences of being able to process things after a walk or a run a little better, or whatever, whether that's something small or something larger and more traumatic. And I definitely have felt the effects of walking and hiking and running in that way in my life at many different points. So, I don't know, that's just some information, some interesting stuff about the origin of an interesting tool. But yeah, and we are still going through the burn area, but the morning light is very pretty. I just did my little mid-morning break, had a Snickers and some Pringles, and I'm listening to an audio book about a zombie apocalypse, which is kind of funny. I'm a sucker for like dystopian and apocalyptic stories, so that's fun. And yeah, like I said before, it's really flat today. Like, I mean, the whole stretch from Chester to Bernie is pretty flat. I was talking to my friend Takeout, who I think I mentioned this maybe, but I ran into him in Sierra City, and that was the first time I'd seen him like since the desert-ish. So it's been nice to see him, although I think he's gonna probably pass, like get ahead of me. But we were talking and he was saying the stretch from Chester to Bernie, it's an 80-mile stretch, right? And he was saying there's only 8,000 feet of elevation gain, which is like nothing. So that was kind of crazy. I feel like it might be a little more than that, but it's like almost nothing. But yeah, we've been in these kind of meadow areas, although I can't tell how, it probably wasn't nearly as meadowy before all of the trees burned down, but it essentially is a huge meadow currently. There is a beautiful view of Lassen through the many burned trees, but it's pretty. It is wonderful to see so many live trees. We're only a few miles out from Old Station, so I'm gonna assume that was like the end of the burn for the most part, and that we're mostly in the clear, because from what I've heard, after Old Station it kind of ends, but we'll see. And I'm sure further up there are burn scars from other fires, because the past several days were all from the same fire, the Dixie fires. So yeah, it's nice to see live trees. And when I get to Old Station, which is kind of my stopping point for today, I'm doing about 23 today, and hopefully the same tomorrow. Even though I think I've said this before, I feel like I'm just justifying myself because I feel a little insecure about the fact that I'm not doing bigger miles, just because most people are speeding up in this section, and even some folks that I haven't seen in a while are catching up to me and passing me. But I really don't have any reason to get defensive about my mileage, because it's like still significant. Like, it's not less than average, it's probably about average. And also, like, if I don't really have a deadline aside from beating the snow, and so if I'm on pace for that, why should I care? Sorry, I'm kind of like, I feel like half the time I'm kind of talking out loud to like process what I'm thinking, but yeah, so gonna do 23, then at Old Station I'll be basically done. I'll charge my phone up at the store there. I might use their Wi-Fi. Apparently it costs $3, but depends. There are a couple things I kind of need to do and I haven't had service. Probably hang out on that porch for a while of that store, and then around early evening, get my stuff together, get back up to where the trail technically is, because the store's like maybe half a mile or a little less off trail, and then set up camp just in the woods, wherever up there. So that's my plan for this afternoon. But yeah, I'm only like 4 miles out, which is nice. Y'all, I found a spot that rocks. I went down to the Hat Creek Resort. There's a little camp store by the campground, and I got a soda, or I got a Pepsi, an orange juice, and something else that I don't remember. Oh, and a strawberry like popsicle bar. And then I caved and I paid $3 for Wi-Fi. and now you can see the campground like back there, but technically I've crossed into national forest land and the Wi-Fi is still here. Which is sick. And I'm definitely within a quarter mile of the trail. So if anyone gives me crap, I can say that I'm within the corridor and also on national forest land, even though I am right next to it to gravel roads. But I'm really happy with this predicament. Yeah, I'm happy. So I think that's all for tonight. I did my 23. I'm really excited for tomorrow, actually. It's another day of a lot of flat land. And there's a lava tube cave that I'm so excited to see. I mean, it's one of those like silly, like kind of flashlight caver, easy to access. There's a, trailhead to get to it. So it's not going to be anything like crazy, but I've never seen a lava tube cave. I've only been in like the limestone caves that we have out east. So like, I'm excited to check it out. And it'll be a cool little slight side trip. So I'm really excited for tomorrow. I had a great day today. Yeah, it was nice. I was trying to take out today for a while, which was cool. So good stuff. I'm like grateful to have good days, because there have been plenty of rough days out here too. So I think I've said this before, but like it's high highs and it's low lows, and I feel like you gotta kind of feel it all and just take it all in. And like, I don't know, I don't know if this makes sense. Like I try to have a positive attitude, and I'm almost always, if you ask me, I'm gonna say that I'm glad to be out here and that I'm grateful that I'm able to be out here, and I don't want to quit. Or even if I want to quit, I'm not going to quit. But I'm also not trying to like deny the fact that there are bad days. Like I feel like those have to be felt too, and that it's a part of the experience. And if it didn't suck sometimes, why would I do this? That sounds weird. I think if you're not the type of person to like want to do a thru hike or other things that are like long endurance things that just kind of suck, but also like you're like, that's why you do them. You might not get that, but I think people who get it. So anyway, that's all for today. Thanks for watching.